Namaskara. Good evening to one and all who are participating in this particular session. As you all know, that BBMP has now come out with a notification on guidance value based property tax system. The guidance value is the Revenue Department Inspector General of Registration and Commissioner of Stamps or release ಮಾಡಿರೋ guidance value. This year, in September 2023, after a 4-year gap from 2019, the guidance value was not revised as because of COVID and other things. Finally, in September 2023, government revised the guidance value and come out with the guidance value, which is available on the website of the igr.gov.in in Karnataka igr.gov.in alli there. You will get all the revised values which is covering the entire Bangalore urban district, which is there, and also the Bangalore rural district. The proposed taxation notification and has got various elements into it. I will just go through these slides so that you will understand the criteria on which this taxation system has now been floated as a draft, calling for objections to be given within 15 days from the date of notification, which is probably 5th of March directly to the commissioner on that website, on the email ID furnished in the notification itself. The categories on taxation are normally revolving around these basic broadly classified areas: vacant site, right? Vacant site, right, which can be residential, commercial, industrial land, any vacant site. The next is the residential properties on these vacant sites, which are residential vacant site ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, independent house ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, apartment ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. It can be any of these categories of residential construction. In non-residential, you have innumerable categories today being sub-classified. Earlier, it used to be only commercial and industrial and broadly. Now we have various sub-classifications: commercial space, office space, shopping mall separate, star hotel separate, industrial separate. These are the broad categories on which computation of property tax is being analyzed and being given to the public to understand how to compute their property tax on that. So in the proposed notification, they have classified various other categories is also which is specifically mentioned also. Residential ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ, industrial ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನು, star hotel and hotels and industrials are as star hotel and industrial are treated as separate category. See, these are the basic essential components and for covering any of those above 3 categories of taxation which you just now saw. One is the total site area, building area. Building area ಅಲ್ಲಿ what happens, independent house ಅಲ್ಲಿ built ನಿಮ್ಗೆ BBMP ಖಾತಾ ತಗೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿ. In the BBMP ಖಾತಾ site area ಇದೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ built up area ಇದೆ. Ali, there is no classification like carpet area. There is no classification like super built area at all in those in the Kata extract, which is given by the BBMP for every property. In this, in the case of apartment, what happens? And in the same Kata extract, site area will be blank, and only the built-up area will be written. See, in the built-up area also, there is a lot of confusion. And this any taxation system, independent house ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಆದಂಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. When it comes to apartment building, multi-storied building, people will who are more aware of certain things will start raising various issues. Would like to get clarifications and all. The no property tax Kata certificate extract of BBMP has any word called carpet area, nor is got a super built area. But today, even earlier also from 86 also, when a lot of mushrooming of apartment happened, and otherly they used to write the super built area only. They never used to give the split of what is carpet area or built up area. But post the RERA in 2016, RERA bandadmele, you are supposed to sell and register only the carpet area area. So they will write the carpet area and also show the component adding up to plus the carpet area jotege what is adding it up to make it a super built area or a built up area anta in the apartment sale deed they will also mention. By post the as the era even car parking area cannot be sold. Car parking area is an usable right which does not which says that you should not sell it at all. But the sub-registrar guideline value nodi, there is a classification of even the car park value also being collected at the time of registration. See, these are the conflicting areas between different authorities in the entire housing sector or in the state of Karnataka. Also in many other states this can be there, and more so in Karnataka. ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಈಗ ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕಾರ್ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು. ಈಗ ಓಪನ್ ಕಾರ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್, even in this notification you have open car park, covered park, still multi-level car parking categories being specifically mentioned and separate calculation being given towards the percentage of taxation anta. The next is the common area amenities. The common area amenities, the apartment common area amenities you all what is all reflecting here. You have the association office, clubhouse, swimming pool, health club, canteen, vagera and vagera, so many things. Even open sports complexes are there in larger community housing projects also. So these are all areas which are now covered in this notification separately as common area amenities anta. And depreciation ಮೊದಲಿಂದಾನು ಇತ್ತು, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ 70% ವರೆಗೂ ಹೋಗೋರು ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ಗೆ 3% ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಇದರಲ್ಲೂ ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ರೇಟ್, but it goes to a maximum of 60% ವರೆಗೂ. And self-occupied and tenanted property ಗೆ all along we have always had self-occupied ಗೆ 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋಂಗಿದ್ರೆ tenanted property get 20 rupees used to be the tax. So used to get rebate on self-occupation of a particular property. So these are the basic components through which computation of property tax has always been considered. Even now this is the same system. If you when you now go to the when we look at the next slide, you will get to understand. And there is a property tax for land arising out of land and arising out of building anta. This cess on property tax. Even now today we are paying 24% cess on property tax. So solid waste management cess alla ee tara categorization agide. Residential building slab adre 10 to 50 rupees and commercial 50 to 200, industrial 100 to 300 and hotels 300 to 600. Okay, but in this present notification there is no mention of these cess area or specifically highlighted in this one. So these are all areas which we need to look at once we go through the notification and once we understand and the calculation on residential, commercial. I'm not going into too much of computation part of it and doing arithmetical calculation. I just would like to bring to the information of all these people who are present here today. What are the certain areas which people need to look at and understand and come out with their suggestions or file objections within this particular. This is just an orientation on this particular notification. So as an eye opener, so that if larger people get to know the pros and cons of this notification, they will be able to understand and give suggestions and also file objections or suggestions within the prescribed date to the BBMP Special Commissioner's Office. So in the next slide, you will understand that this is the sub-registrar guideline value taxing slabs, which is mentioned in the notification itself. And in the notification mentioned in page 2 of the notification, they have classified property tax for residential property anta. And idರಲ್ಲಿ A ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can see here property tax arising out of residential properties, lands and residential vacant lands anta. They have classified separate category for calculating the tax for land anta. Tax arising out of lands and it says self-occupied adre 0.1% of the guideline value, and if it is tenanted adre it is 0.2%. Assuming this property is being tenanted, you have a site area of 30-40,200 square feet. 2% of the guideline value earlier. 2% of the guideline value, 0.2% of the guideline value. So 0.2% of guideline value ನೀವು calculate ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, if the guideline value is 2,000 rupees is and so like that, then you will probably for the site it will work out to 4,200 4,800 rupees as to tax ಬರುತ್ತೆ. And whatever is the building, again you will have to calculate the building which is in the next serial number 2, tax arising out of building other than apartment ಅಂತ. ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, UDS undivided share in the land is never mentioned or figured. It will not figure in the Kata extract of the BBMP. You see the site area for all apartments and the site area column in Kata extract will be blank, and only the built up area will be written. And there also now the question is, the corporation BBMP also needs to change their format according to me, to bring in all the 3 categories in their Kata extract, writing that carpet area, super built area, built up area, 3 column extra ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆದು. Because the RERA prakara we are doing carpet area registration, but now we are paying tax under the corporation on the built up area, which is reflecting in the Kata extract of the BBMP. Tax arising out of building is same slab ಇದೆ, 0.1% and on the guidance value only. But the cost of the building, they have fixed the cost. Sub registrar office guideline value booklet ಅಲ್ಲಿ cost of the building varies based on flooring, based on the front door, type of wood used in the door, based on the flooring ring in living, dining and all these things, or based on all those criteria, different rates are fixed for the cost of the building also at times. Here they have fixed the rate of the construction cost for to be calculated at 1,500 rupees is single slab fixation ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 1,500 rupees per square feet it will be the rate at which you need to calculate the buildings. So based on this category, based on this rate, you need to calculate the value of the building for computing the tax. This serial number 1 is for land, serial number 2 is for land. Put together will be your total tax, which will say land tax into total plot area plus the building tax other than flats. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ land area ಗೆ tax ಬರಲ್ಲ building apartment ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So this will finally become the total tax payable. See, in cost of building, when suppose the building is constructed in 20 years ago, then per year 3% depreciation ಅಂದ್ರೆ 20-year-old building 60%. Maximum allowed is 60%, is the maximum, subject to maximum of 60% is the depreciation allowed. So this is what is given. It's only the valuation is based on the guidance value, which is going to be definitely higher than the value which is there in all those zones which were there earlier in the present taxation system which is prevalent. You had several zones there. You have to calculate all these things based on the various zone, A zone, B zone, C zone, D zone, E zone. You have to go by those zones and now the guidance value is available to everybody on the website also. Based on that guidance value, you need to do this calculation. I'm not going into giving you example of any property with the calculation, but this calculation and table is definitely going to enhance the tax, because your guidance value is slightly, though it is lesser than the market value of the property in an area, guidance value is definitely more than your ARV rate, which used to be fixed earlier on different parameters. So there are a lot of things which have come into play in respect of the residential property as well as the commercial property. So this is your basic criteria on how the calculation happens. And 2,000 rupees, 1,000 ನಾನು ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, 30-40 site ಆದರೆ 4,800 rupees is ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So if there is a building which is worth 20 lakhs constructed on that, totally the tax will become 8,800 ಅವಾಗ. Suppose the building value construction cost is working out to 20 lakhs, then it will the tax will come down to will add up. 4,800 was for the land. You will add another 4,000 for the building, so totally 8,800 rupees ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If it is self-occupied building, you will be paying 4,400. If it is a tenanted building, you will be definitely paying 8,800 tax. This is just one example for a 30-40 site with a value of the building being 20 lakhs. So you will be ending up paying 8,800 rupees tenanted other, 4,400 if it is self-occupied other. So this is how the residential calculation happen. In the next slide, you will get to see guidance value based commercial property ಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ taxation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ in the non-residential category. See, this non-residential category, they have classified non-residential property excluding industrial and star hotel. Industrial and star hotel separate category ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. I'm not going into industrial and star hotel. I'm broadly looking at residential and commercial, which normal common man will always look at. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಅಂಗಡಿಗೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. So there will be a mixed use also. You have to calculate separately for your shop in the same building and separately for the residential portion in the same building, which normally people are doing also. And based on that, but only thing is you have to use the guidelines value rate which is mentioned here. You had 0.1 and 0.2% and 0.1 and 0.2% in the residential. Now you have in the commercial, in the commercial you are having 0.5% of the guidance value for non-residential land per square feet per year. Fully vacant land and 0.025 non-residential land ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗ ಏನೋ ಒಂಚೂರು ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. So avaga this guidance value land is separate to building is separate to, you have to calculate tax arising out of non-residential building other than apartment and flats. That's ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, in the residential you had this bifurcation for a rebate on the residential and on the self-occupied and tenanted. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ the classification of self-occupied and tenant separate ಇಲ್ಲ. The tax arising on the building will be the same whether it is self-occupied or tenanted. That is going to be 0.5% of the building cost as minus the depreciation. So construction cost was 1,500 for residential. Here the construction cost is being fixed at 2,000 rupees per square feet anta madidare. So you have to calculate accordingly. How I gave you the example of a 30-40 site with 20 lakh. Adanne itkondu ನೀವು calculate ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you will get to know the 0.1%, 0.2% ಬದಲು ಇಲ್ಲಿ 0.5% ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So that will be the tax which will come. The tax is definitely going to be slightly higher than what you are actually paying now. But there are so many other gray areas in this particular notification which we would like you to go through and understand what is that suggestion and what objections can be raised in the interest of the benefit for the general public. And most of these things are basically concerning apartment alle ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂಗಳು ಬರೋದು. ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಹೌಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡೋ ತರ ಜನಗಳಿಗೂ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಆದಂಗೆ ನಮಗೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಸುಮ್ಮನಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. If you go to the when you go to the in the next slide, you will get to see what are all the various general conditions. You saw that in the category of essential components ಅಲ್ಲಿ depreciation, all these things, you saw those areas like total site area, built up area, carpet area, then common area, facilities, amenities. See, any increase in tax by virtue of this notification, if it is going to exceed more than 20% and than what you are now today paying, so the tax is capped at 20% maximum in case of any enhancement. So any enhancement should not exceed 20% maximum per year. But if your tax which you are paying when you compute and as per this present notification, if your tax is going to reduce than what you are paying, and you still have to pay what you are exactly paying now, because under the fiscal law, whichever is higher needs to be paid. Revenue collection and anything whichever is higher needs to be paid to the government. Suppose what you are paying now 5,000 rupees tax katta idre, under this notification, suppose when you calculate it becomes 4,000 rupees, but you still need to pay 5,000 rupees only as tax, because as whatever is higher needs to be paid. Always the taxation needs to be paid at the higher value. It can't be reduced at any cost. In case of increase is which is caused due to any change in the sanctioned usage. ನೀವು ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆಗೆ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ this cap of 20% maximum enhancement will not be applicable. You will have to pay whatever is the calculation, even if the enhancement touches is 40%, then what you are paying today, you will have to pay at 40%. So you won't get the benefit of cap for or diverting the usage of the property. Having taken for plan for a residential building, you start using it for commercial building. Then this tax, by paying tax doesn't mean that that building will get regularized. This is the other point which people need to understand. No tax payment can regularize any unauthorized construction or unauthorized or illegal unauthorized layout property ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ it cannot get automatically regularized just because you are paying tax. Tax is only what is due to the government, and as per law you need to pay. Any akrama sakrama ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇರೋದು, not under this notification. Reduction in existing tax based on GV system is barred. That's what I said. So if your tax get reduced, but still you'll need to pay whichever is higher, whether it is the higher one is under the old system or if the lower one is under the new system, you need to pay the higher one only. Annual ಇವಾಗ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, annual increase fix ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. From April 1st 2025, every year there will be enhancement of 5% on your tax paid during 24-25. In April 25 onwards, 5% automatic increase ಆಗುತ್ತೆ in respect of the property tax. This increase is for will be applicable even on the building rate. See, the building rate they have fixed 1,500 rupees is for residential and 2,000 rupees for non-residential. So that building rate also will get enhanced by 5%, than what is presently available. So this is what happens in respect of the enhancement criteria on this taxation is concerned from 2025. In the continuation of the general conditions, the next condition in the next slide you will get to see is that the guidance value based taxation and is applicable both for A Khata properties as well as for B Khata properties. Is based on the same location, same usually, it will be equal. There can't be any differentiation. Just because your B Khata properties, it doesn't mean you will pay less. A Khata properties are marketable, more marketable when compared to B Khata. So you pay more there, I'll pay less antalla avakashane illa. So it will be same rate of taxation whether it is A Khata property or B Khata property. In case of mixed use, I told you already, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆಗೆ ಅಂಗಡಿಗೆ ಗರಾಜ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ, you calculate for that as commercial separately, you calculate for the residential separately, and you have to pay taxes for based on the mixed use, both for residential as well as for commercial. For outdoor sports and all, this is another thing which they have added into this notification. Suppose there is a large 40-acre residential apartment complex in which there is a quash court, there is a shuttle badminton and outdoor court, there is a tennis court, and there is even a stadium like facility with pavilion seating capacity which is having a covered top covered sheltered area. So even for that sheltered area you will have to calculate separately, and for the outdoor open space where tennis you are playing, where there is no top covered in the area of the play area, you have to calculate the play area as outdoor sports area, outdoor sports stadium, and pay 20% tax for non-residential purpose for the pavilion. Okay, and for the land open area land tax katbeku. Pavilion ge covered shelter idre you will treat it as a building, so they will ask you to pay for that 20% fix ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 20% tax of non-residential purpose will be charged for the pavilion which may have a sheltered top covered sheltered area for seating for spectator to sit and watch the tennis match or cricket match or anything within that particular enclave. In covered stilt parking, multi-level parking separate category ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So covered parking, stilt parking, multi-level parking ಗೆ 50% and will be on the unit area value ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Open car parking ಗೆ 20% will be there per square feet of the residential self use rate ಅಲ್ಲಿ. residential self-occupied rate ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನೀವು ಕಟ್ತೀರೋ, you need to pay on that rate 20% of the value for per square feet of the residential self-occupied what you charge, that much you need to pay for the open car parking space. The question arises here, whether, see, when the after post RERA, car parking is not owned by the owner, okay, but still car parking under this notification the owner has to pay. So these questions will now come up. These are gray areas as which are in conflict between the BBMP and the RERA act. So these needs to be streamlined. I don't know how BBMP itself is planning to have some training session on this particular notification for their own staff to make the civilians to understand and how this computation is going to happen ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಏನಾರ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಗಳಿದ್ರೆ post the objection suggestions period coming to an end on 5th March, you may get this opportunity where they may even invite public to join to understand and do some orientation to public ward wise ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾಡೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ಲಾಶ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ವೇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ. ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸಸ್, ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವನ್ ದ ಟೆನ್ನಿಸ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟು ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್. ವೇಕೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಔಟ್ಡೋರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 20% ಇಸ್ ದಿ ನಾನ್ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ ಪೆವಿಲಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಏರಿಯಾ. ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ವೇಕೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ is relinquished to the BDA or to the BMRDA under the deed. But so who is going to pay tax for this one? And because there is no separate, there won't be any separate PID for park and open space which have been relinquished in larger communities to the BDA or to the BMRDA or to the every planning authority, which is the part of the plan sanction regulation. So anta time alli ಈ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ as vacant land. Who is the owner of the vacant land? Common area land, common area amenities ಗೆ association is only maintaining and running. They are not the owner also, except under RERA where they are supposed to hand over conveyance deed to in respect of this land and which has not happened, and to my knowledge in most of the things post the RERA also. In all such cases, as the big question mark is open and park spaces ಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. PID ನಂಬರ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ? Your tax calculator ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೂನು it won't be able to collect unless you key in the PID number. So these are gray areas which all listeners in this session should understand how to go about this as far as this is concerned. And in the last slide is what I wanted you to these are points to ponder. There are a couple of other things which I have not factored in here. Just a broad view of it. Whether tax for apartments should be collected on carpet area when the entire sale deed itself is on carpet area post the RERA act coming into effect. The next question is, who has to pay tax for common area amenities when there is no distinct PID number? Association is not the owner. Land owner ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ಟೇಲ್ ಡೀಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಕಾಮನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಕಾಂಪೋನೆಂಟ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಕಾರ್ಪೆಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಕಾಮನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಕಾಂಪೋನೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಾರ್ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಫಾರ್ ದೀಸ್ things when there is no distinct PID number available? Without a PID number, your tax calculator will not even take and will not proceed further for you to calculate also. Then whether apartment owners are required to pay tax on undivided share, as of now ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಇದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Since undivided share in the property as per the RERA needs to be transferred to common area have to be transferred to the association. These are gray areas which people who are representing associations, who are some of them who are representing associations who are there on this session should look at this also when they raise issues before the concerned authority. Post RERA, car parking is not sold to the apartment owner under the sale deed. Only usage right is there. So car parking ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು is normally the deemed way of looking at things. things. So that will normally be collected from the apartment owner. But common area amenities is a bigger question. PID na ilde, how are you going to pay tax for the common area amenities? Stadium, pavilion, and open park and spaces, which is relinquished. When I have relinquished the open park and open spaces to the BDA or to BMRDA, they have to pay tax. How can I pay tax for that? So where is the PID for that? These are all things which you need to look and ponder over. Lot of properties do not have PID numbers, so how to pay tax? Next, there are some properties which do not have. And the guideline value gazette ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೋಡಿನ ನಂಬರ್ಗಳು ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ I will give you a best example for you to cross check. 4T block, Jayanagar guideline value gazette ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4T block ಹೋಗಿ 4T block ಅಲ್ಲಿ you will get to see that 33rd A cross is not there at all. Okay, 33rd B cross ಇದೆ, 33rd A cross ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಾಸೇ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ತರ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಯಾವ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ರೇಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು is a question. All big apartment complexes, the name of the apartment condominium is there, or the layouts are mentioned specifically and separate rate is fixed for them under the guideline, the sub-registrar's guideline value. But smaller buildings ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವು ಸತಿ ಆ ನೇಮ್ ಇರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಆ ರೋಡ್ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಆ ರೇಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಸತಿ ನಿಮ್ ಖಾತಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ the guideline value rate has to go in accordance with the road written in your Kata certificate. Okay, whatever is the road written in your Kata certificate and Kata extract, you have to look at the guideline value rate in this booklet based on that road name, which is going to match with the road name in your Kata certificate. You can't just write nimdu cross road ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬಹುದು. Okay, ನಿಮ್ ಮನೆ, but nim Kata ಅಲ್ಲಿ main road is which is perpendicularly main road is there. 33rd A cross main road is connecting to 16th main road. In your Kata, if it is 33rd A cross is not there, though your property is on the cross road, since your Kata certificate shows 16th main road, the main road value may be much higher than the cross road value. So you will have to go by the guideline value of the main road. There you have no option, because the Kata certificate road name itself is the criteria for arriving at the guideline value, even for a registration of a sale deed or for any document before sub-registrar. So same way you will have to use here also the same road to compute your property tax also. So all roads are not mentioned, so this is another gray area which people need to understand. And there is an option under the new BBMP Act, road number road area ilde idre intavella valuation ilde idre under the guideline value gazette allunu they have to go and meet, file an application before district registrar, get those things incorporated, addendum will be issued. That doesn't happen so easily. Only larger big property builders where larger apartment complex are there, they may go into all these things. Malls, hotels and industrial, star hotel and industrial separate category there. I'm not touching on that. I just gave you broad on residential and commercial. So this is basically, these are just a few points. There are so many other points, and so which basically I am not going to tell all the points, so that I want you all, I am equally eager to know what is that you will all come up with. So I am on the same footing as you all are. These are just some of my thinking and my understanding of the notification. So thank you for a patient hearing. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬುಕ್ಲೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಗೆಜೆಟ್ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ it is there on the IGR website, right? But there is a published books also available in the bookstores, law bookstalls or Sapna bookstall. Estimated market value of immovable properties anta. And if my video is enabled, I will show you the book which is available, which will entirely cover Bangalore or urban property guideline value, which is there in the Gazette. The same is available in this in the book. So see, this is a book which shows the guideline value as published on September 2023. Okay, KLJ publication. This book is a price publication. Anybody can buy it from Sapna Bookstall. Also, you will get it. But ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಪ್ರಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಎರರ್ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಗೆಜೆಟ್ at from the IGR's website ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನೋಡಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು is my suggestion to you all. Well, thank you for a patient hearing. Anything is there, I am willing to clarify. If you have anything to say apart from seeking clarification, you are free to express your opinion and give your suggestions also. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Harish, sir, for taking us through this new guidelines value with the revisions and its importance. Like several of our participating members have put up their questions and clarifications. So we'll take one by one. Like Mr. Harish emphasized that this is an evolving space of change in the property tax system for BBMP from the old system of value guidelines to the new one, comparing to zone and moving to the value guidelines. Uh, so we would request you all to go through the system, the proposed tax systems, and also the guidance value for Bangalore urban based on the constituencies, streets, and others, and kindly make more representations based on your analysis. So we'll go to the questions, and Harish, open for your clarifications. First question that has come in from Mahua Mukherjee: is there a new proposed tax undergoing on public consultations or feedback events or notifications being implemented straight away? The 5th of March is the date. On or before, any citizen is feel free to happy to share their comments or objections to the proposed guidance value proposed here is the answer to that. So moving on to the thing, the next question that is there is: does fabricated sheet, roof, grill, etc. be calculated for property tax purpose?
Yeah. See, anything. See, pavilion. I told you, no, in a stadium, a pavilion, and is a fiber sheet covered thing. It's like a your car parking, top covered car parking, which may not be a basement nor a concrete wall above the car parking. It can be stilt level. It can be a sheltered car parking. In several buildings, there are sheltered car parking where the sheet is covering the car park area. So that will be treated as covered car park area. Like that, similarly here, we told you, no, pavilion will be treated with 50% and on the value of the treated as 50% of the non-residential value to be taken for computation of tax. So any covered area will still come under the tax net.
Thank you, sir. So one of the ask is to share the link for the revised guidelines value. I'm resharing that IGR.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
version.
one.
So please visit that. That helps you.
Yeah,
So
there it shows revised guideline value. There is that directly you can see that heading there. Click on that. It will show you Bangalore, Jayanagar, Shivaji Nagar, Gandhi Nagar, all the district registrars. Under each of the sub registrars, you will have 7 or 8 sub registrars. So you will get to see under Jayanagar. When you click, you will get to see the guideline value of Kengeri, JP Nagar. All these things come under Jayanagar district register.
Right. So next question: in zonal classification, does the tax for property vary based on main road, side road, tertiary road of the same layout?
Yeah. You see, I told you, even a cross road, if your property is on the cross road, but your Kata extract has the main road as your address in the Kata, you will have to pay based on the guideline value of the main road.
Right.
Okay. So you have to go by the road which is written in your Kata extract, Kata certificate. Whatever is the address in the Kata, that is the basis on which taxes are computed. Even your FIR calculation goes based on the, when you go for plan, that also goes based on the road address which is given in the Kata extract or the Kata certificate.
Right. So one more question has come in to say why there is no depreciation for apartments, and also on what basis is this guidance value arrived at?
See, guidance value is arrived by a high power, by a committee, an evaluation committee which sits under the guidance of the Inspector General for Stamps and Inspector General for Registration and Commissioner of Stamps. They have a basis of a market study based on which every 3 years once they will revise the market value. Okay. So this did not happen in the last 3 years. So it happened in 2019. After that, only in September 23, the revision has happened. So revision is based on how market, see, even though the guideline value which we are now calculating for tax is definitely less than the actual market value of the property. Okay. In some pockets, sometimes the guideline value is more than the real market value, where facilities are not there. So selling a property is difficult there because you won't get the good rate there. That is why. So this is scientifically done, and though not exactly fully foolproof, I cannot say, but to a great extent, some exercise is done out of the real estate market trend in the city. It is so based on the study and economic survey and things like that. That's how they arrive at it.
Thank you. So why is no depreciation for apartments?
No, for every see who said that there is no depreciation, and for a building there is a depreciation. What happens in apartment? See what happens in apartment. I'll tell you. These are the gray areas as far as the apartment ends are concerned. And in apartment there is no land tax calculation done. It's only on the built up area. Okay. Okay. And but you since in residential, why I see in residential properties self-occupied, everybody gets a rebate. You are paying half the tax which you will pay if you are tenanting that property. Okay. So there you stand to a benefit over there. But depreciation is there for every building. See, these are gray areas as on which BBMP has to come out with better clarification and show that people don't feel that they are being discriminated on these small issues as far as rebate is concerned or depreciation is concerned.
Right. Thank you, sir. So there is two connected questions where the construction cost is being included in the calculation. Why is it so? Then what is the rationale for 5% increase per year from 25 onwards?
See what happened, increase all these years, every year increase never used to happen. Once in 5 years they used to do. See, government's policy, they have a policy. See, you know what is happening in the current scenario with the guarantee schemes and all these things. So how does government fetch revenue out of it to feed all these schemes? It's an open secret why these things are being found. These are avenues to get better revenue receipts to the government to cater to all these schemes. So that's a policy decision. Nobody can question why it is 5% per year. Earlier, it never used to happen every year. It's a good way that every year there should be some increase is in tax also. But we are always saying, first, don't give any benefit to defaulters like what the government has now announced immediately. They said all defaulters who are in arrears of property tax, we will give you 50% and rebate in the penalty. Okay, not in the tax, in the penalty. If you are paying this as a one-time settlement on or before July of this year, 31st of July of this year. So why should such benefit be given to defaulters and real victim is the honest taxpayer? Yeah. You also will agree with me on this. Yes, everybody knows that. But you saw in the recently in the motor vehicles fines, because they gave that 50% rebate option, they were able to collect the arrears. Otherwise, arrears will still be piling up. Nobody will come forward to pay. People will be selling their property also and go. Okay, so this is what is happening. So how to recover is give and take. Carrot and stick method has to happen sometimes to recover arrears, because the addresses are not available. Landlord may not be living there. In vacant site, if property tax is not paid, how to trace the landowner?
All right. Thank you, sir. So a question has come in to say this comparing this zone-wise tax system to guidance value in some properties, there are 10 times increase in the property tax. So the justification and how it happens for few self-occupied independent houses, then also covered parking, why UAB is being applied.
This is what I am waiting for clarification from the BBMP. Even today, I went to BBMP to find out what is these things and all. So they are yet to come out with some clarifications. They are waiting for this suggestion period. Put this all as suggestion. Why are you having different yardstick for different things here? There should be your suggestion. Why can't there be a uniform yardstick for all these things? I think these things should be when put in the form of suggestion or objection. What happens today in our country? If you say this is an objection, they will ignore you sometimes. You put it positively to say we would suggest that this will be a better way of having the rate fixed rather than and going on UAV and capital value assessment and all. So you should put these things to them. We are also waiting for clarification. They are waiting for this 5th March to be over, based on after which they are likely to come up with some citizens meet or a training for their own staff to guide the public.
Thank you, sir. So, one of the underlining point, Mr.
And I am also, I think that A zone, B zone, C zone, and what was there, and I don't know whether that zones will be now valid with this guidance value being floated. The zones should be done away with because they already fixed some rates here and all. No, that A, B, C, D, E, F zones, I
Right.
think so will probably go. I also don't know. I am equally really waiting to hear from the BBMP.
Noted, sir. So the encouragement from Mr. Harish is that all these clarifications are to be addressed to the special commissioner through letters or emails that will help more citizen participation in the beginning of this draft notification. We hope and expect that Honorable Commissioner would seek more consultations to receive views before making it a final version.
And I am willing to join the associations who want to personally meet the BBMP commissioner. If you intimate Sharath, I will try to accommodate myself to come along with you all to also vent my views and comments and suggestions.
Right. So there is a request also to share your contacts with for any property tax issues
Sure,
and
sure, sure.
send your
You
email
can.
ID in the chat box after we complete this Q&As from this, sir. So moving on, why not BBMP select guidance value as per PID instead of public checking guidance? Then also one more question moving.
Why come again?
Why not BBMP select guidance value as per the PID instead of public checking guidance?
See, I'll tell you one thing. What will happen? I'll tell you. You don't need to check. I'll tell you one thing. Once this tax calculator, which is there online, which gets updated, synchronized with this guidance value system, okay? The moment you give your PID number, it will detect the guidance value of your property based on your address available. See, in 2019 Gazette, I'll tell you what happened. In 2019 Gazette of the guideline value, okay? Guideline value Gazette I can show it to you also. I have a guideline value Gazette of 2019, which had the PID number of the properties is road wise also in the guideline value Gazette. Okay. Now in the 2021, they have removed that. You know why? Some of the PID numbers were missing. Okay, because some of these PID numbers were missing, is saying people found it difficulty to calculate their market value of the property, the guidance value of the property. So they removed it because there were a lot of errors as with the PID number having old ward number and new PID number being reflecting in the guideline value gazette. They were not tallying. So once the guideline value had this PID number in 2019, when the sub-register office data entry operator keys in your PID number, which is having the old ward number, it would not allow him to go to the next step. So this problem was there. Some of them could not do registration. That's why.
Thank you, sir. Right. So moving on. Yeah.
And even today in the CMC areas, the PID number is manual kata extract. There is no computerized extract even given today. Even in go to Bamnalli CMC area office in Begor, they will give you manual kata extract. Unless the entire properties in Bangalore are computerized under this urban property card system which they have floated, and this problem will continue to be there.
So
mismatch of numbers.
Point on highlighting the A-B Kata pending from BBMP. What is the stake of the owners of the flat, especially?
A-B Kata, what is it? A Kata is there's no issue at all.
Yeah.
See, under the law, all listeners, my understanding, and I will tell you, first is Kata neither confers title to the property, nor will it take away the title of the true owner of the property. Kata is not a document which confers title to any property. It's only the sale deed or a title deed like gift deed, partition deed, relinquishment deed, which can convey title of the property to the true owner. I have seen katas in the name of tenants earlier in Bangalore city, and doesn't mean the tenant is the owner of the property. Okay, in Banchankri second stage, they used to give sites on rent to parties, and that tenant used to construct the building. The plan sanction title kata used to be in the name of the tenant, but still the true owner was the real original owner of the site. So kata will neither confer title to any other person other than the true owner, nor will it extinguish the title of the true owner even if the tenant's name is there in the kata. So ye kata, you don't need to worry. Kata is nothing but account. Hindi word kata means account. Sachin Tendulkar ne chakka maar ke apna kata khola. So like that, it's an account into which the property tax is being paid. See, tax is paid for the property, not for the name of the owner. Okay, katas are there in the name of dead persons even today. Father is dead, kata transfer is not being done by the children. Still, property tax is being. Property tax is for the property and not for the name of the owner. So you don't worry about the ownership. Will never get altered. In case of B katas, you because there is a violation either of unauthorized plans, unauthorized layout, or unauthorized construction. Though the original site was A kata, some extra floor has been constructed, so your A kata got demoted to B kata. So possession, you are in possession of the property, but your regularization can only happen after Supreme Court clears the pending matter which is before it on the akrama sakrama which is pending before the Supreme Court of India.
Right, sir. Sir, one suggestion is to say that many of the defaulters are there in terms of property tax not being paid during the timely remittance. Then how can BBMP push to collect these taxes?
See, under the new BBMP Act, under the old Karnataka Munsi, people are not aware that earlier the BBMP was coming under the Karnataka Municipal Corporations Act 1976. From January 21, with December 20, when the new enactment of exclusive law for Bangalore came, where the BBMP Act 2020, which came into effect in January 21. Then under this act also, under the old act also, property tax arrears is a charge on the property at the hands of the government. Government can attach your property and recover the property tax. The problem is our governments are being very liberal. They are trying to be very accommodative to give the long rope for the property owners to voluntarily come and pay, because if they start litigating, there is no end to litigation in our country. You know how much delay happens in the court. But at times we always advise a worst compromise outside court can be better than the best judgment in court, which may happen 25 years down the line also. So we would always, that's why the government doesn't want to litigate on frivolous grounds of small property tax, which may be very negligible amount when compared to the value of the property. So they don't want to go in for attachments unless they are pushed to a corner to do something. But they still have a right to recover it as a charge on the property. First option will be with the government. Even court will be in favor of the government in case of a property arrears.
Right, sir. So I think we completed all the sessions within the time. All the questions have also been clarified. Please write to Mr. Harish at his email ID with the subject of assistance on guidance value for property tax, and Mr. Harish would be able to help you, like he expressed his willingness to support institutions, apartment complexes with raising this. All of the citizens have this opportunity to give in the suggestions, inputs to the chief commissioner through writing letters or sending this email to specialcommissioner.rev@bbmp.gov.in on or before 5th of March, 15th day before the notification of 20th. And we are within the time of 7. Is there any other closing points that you would like to highlight it to this group of members? A large portion of people are still here, and that means this subject requires more clarification like you
No,
appointed?
there are a lot of issues. I have just covered a bird's eye view because of the paucity of time and not going into too much details of calculation part and all. Well, there's so many things, which are interconnected related on the subject matter. All listeners may not have, have a personal interest in understanding those things, because each one will look at their own property, unless there are some federation and association members who are here who may look at the larger interest of the property owners in the city of Bangalore. They should all come together. All associations should come together and unified effort to go and meet the commissioner, meet Tushar Girnath or meet Rakesh Singh, and try to convince them to see that they address the gray areas as on this matter.
Right, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for all our fellow participating members who have taken time to get onto this session. So the objective of B.PAC organizing this session is to engage more of our citizens together on this topic of property tax, the revision, the reforms that are being proposed. So many questions have also brought up open conversation like why is it required at 5%, number one, number two, who decides on the guidance value, rates, and so on like that. So it is how the participatory approach of citizens coming together and working or challenging or questioning the intent in which the new amendments are being brought in. So we encourage all the fellow members to raise their points in knowing the subject to the commissioner or the said office, and we seek more continued such sessions be organized.
My suggestion to all listeners is, I am sure that not everybody would have read the new BBMP Act. Okay, I would suggest to them to please read Chapter 13 on the new BBMP Act, which covers the taxation part, to understand and the various aspects governing the taxation of properties and general exemptions and things like, and see whether this notification in any way violates any of those tax provisions. Also need to be seen in and without knowing all these things, it's difficult to convince the authorities, and it's a policy decision. We cannot question who decides why it is 5%. Budget decision is done by the finance minister. Like that, the policy decisions you can't question the rating. What you can question is when you calculate and compare the old tax method and the new tax method. If there is some conflict in provisions and areas as which are more gray in nature, because of which you are going to pay more tax because of no proper clarity of a particular road being mentioned there. I'll tell you what happens. If your road is not there, they would have synchronized the next road, which is your neighboring road, as the tax calculator on the tax calculator software. I'll tell you. So you don't have to search for the guideline. It will automatically take you to one particular neighboring road to calculate your tax. So we are always saying let all roads be mentioned in the guideline value booklet, so that everybody gets the benefit based on that particular road.
Right. Thank you, sir. So I'm resending the email ID of Mr. harish@law@gmail.com. So we request people to send
Please,
them.
I am on a hectic schedule. Well, and presently another week, and so I am not easily available. I have my personal a lot of commitments and things like that. So whenever I get time, I will try to respond and as a social service. And if it's too professional, well, I would not want to and to keep responding every query on it. It has a larger interest of general public. I may probably accommodate that.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. So anything which is on public interest, we would request you to reach out to Harish, sir. Otherwise, more of your groups or your individual opinions are also being encouraged to be sent as suggestions or objections to the said notification. With this point, we conclude this session, I request, I'm grateful to Mr. Harish to accommodate this with all his busy schedule that he's, gave us 1 hour time to take the, entire flow of this guidance value structure, comparing it to the previous, rates of zone-based tax property tax collection system. And with this, thank you very much, Harish sir, for taking time. And thank you also all the audience to be part of this session. And officially, we are going to sign off this. Thank you all.
Thank you all for a patient hearing. God bless you.
Thank you.